Hello, my beautiful friends, it's Marie here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Maria Khoreva and I'm the first soloist with the Mariinsky Ballet in St. Petersburg, Russia. So today I have a pretty exciting video for you. We are going to be talking about 5 tips for better arabesques. So for better extension, arabesque. And arabesque is literally just like one of the most important moves in ballet, and I've already made a video about my tips on extensions front and à la seconde, and these are also very important, but arabesques are everywhere in ballet and it's one of the most important positions for me, and I feel like I train arabesques the most and I train extensions to the back the most, and I get the most corrections from my coach about the arabesque and attitude, so I'm really excited to make this video. I also already did a video about my favorite exercises to improve arabesque, so I will leave all of the links in the description box below, so check them out if you want to. But today we're going to be talking about theoretical tips, 5 of my favorite things that I really like to think about when I'm doing arabesque or when I'm working on my arabesques and extensions to the back. So without the further ado, let's get into the tips. So tip number 1 is to hold the ribs in. And this is the correction that I hear the most from my coach at the Mariinsky, and this is what the teachers at Vaganova Academy were telling us always to do. So I'll try to demonstrate it. So whenever you are lifting the leg to the back, it is really tempting to go like this and really open up the rib cage. But we don't want to do that. We want to aim at almost like a straight line. Of course, our back will bend, and of course we will open the rib cage a little bit, but we really have to think about pulling our stomach in and pulling the abs in, and really not opening the ribs but pulling them in. And really, it's going to make you pull up in the supporting hip, which we're going to talk about later, but it's going to make the position more whole and it's going to let you balance better. So whenever you are doing développé at the bar, or whenever you are doing something on center or rehearsing the variation, really think about not bending in your body, but really just thinking about the legs more rather than creating this curved position in your ribs and your back. Tip number 2 is to turn out the supporting leg. And I know I always tell you about the turnout of the supporting leg, but it is always really different, and it always applies to literally any of the things that we're discussing in ballet. So for arabesques, for example, of course you have to think about turning out the supporting side whenever you are doing extensions to the back, standing at the bar. But what is really helpful for me, this tip is really helping me whenever I'm stepping into arabesque on stage or whenever I'm rehearsing and trying to balance. So you are doing this dégagé before stepping into an arabesque, and somehow, I don't know how, but this is what I'm thinking about and this is what I'm feeling, and it really helps me. When you are engaging the turnout muscles of your supporting side during this dégagé and really trying to step onto the turned out leg, the balance somehow works really nicely. So thinking about really pulling up on that leg and turning it out as much as possible, and stepping a little bit in front of yourself and stepping into an arabesque on a turned out leg really helps. But in order for this tip to work, you have to think about it and work on it while doing all of the extensions to the back, at the bar and at the center. So this is kind of a general tip, but especially when you're doing some movements like this on stage, if you're just going to dégagé, not turned out, and stand like this, I'm always falling, on stage when I'm not thinking, or in the rehearsal studio when I'm not thinking about turning out this supporting side, whenever I'm not thinking about really pulling that heel to the front, I'm always not doing it with the balance in attitude or in arabesque. But whenever I'm thinking about the heel and this hip, about them really turning out, it always works for me. So I don't know, that's kind of a personal thing, but hopefully that makes some sense for you guys as well. So tip number 3 is to hold the diagonal from your shoulder to your hip. So when I'm just telling that to you guys, I'm really just feeling that diagonal already, because this was really the thing that my teachers always taught me. So, you know, for the arabesque, you don't want it to be like this. You want the leg to go to the back. And it's really tempting to go to the side, to do this dog attitude, dog arabesque, you know, like this. But we have to keep it to the back in order for the whole position to work for your balance. So for that case, what works for me is you keep, you know, that hip and that shoulder in a diagonal and like in a chain of some sort. So you really keep thinking about pulling that hip a little bit to the back and pulling that shoulder and really, you know, squeezing them together and balancing like this, and thinking about standing on this supporting shoulder and pulling that hip to that supporting shoulder almost. So I know that kind of like sounds like something very metaphorical, I don't know, something very strange, but if you really think about it, if you really try to feel it whenever you are developing the leg to the back, so, you know, not like this, but pulling this diagonal of this shoulder and that hip in order for the arabesque not to be like this, but like this, and it really somehow works. So yeah, that's it. Tip number 4 is to pull up on the supporting hip. And this is another very important one, and one of my coach's favorites as well. So, you know, we don't want to do that. We don't want to sink down on our supporting hip. We want to pull up as much as we can. And, you know, together with the ribs, together with the turnout of the supporting leg, and together with pulling up on that hip, almost creating the straight line, like feeling that you are trying to create a straight line. Of course, it will not be the straight line because the leg could not go high up for the beautiful arabesque whenever you are trying to create like this perfectly straight line. But try just thinking about this straight line and pulling up as much as you can, and constantly engaging the muscles for this pulling up motion. And this one is really useful for PKs, arabesque on point or on demi point, on center, and for attitude or just for anything. And the 5th tip is to make the arms position beautiful. So it is important, really important to think about your upper body whenever you are doing extensions to the back. So whether it is arabesque or it is attitude, the arms should really help you in any position, but in arabesques and attitudes especially. So whenever you are doing arabesque position, think about your elbows going to the side and like holding you. Like think about your arms helping you to balance. And you know, it's a mental thing, as all of these corrections are. So it's not necessarily the thing that is really physically gonna help you, but it is like a little bit psychological, a little bit physical, and all of that together is really going to up your arabesque game and attitude and back extension game, I feel like. So, you know, think about putting the shoulders down, elongating the arms, think about your neck as well. And then it is going to make you pull up on your hip. It is going to make the whole position like a whole picture, you know? So for the attitude, hold your elbows as well. So when you hold your elbows, it kind of makes you balance easier, I feel like. So, you know, elbows should really help you. And think about your wrists, think about your fingers. And this whole thing should, the arms should be wide and they should be creating, all of these people in circus that walk on the rope, they are balancing with their arms and with the stick that they're holding, like the very, very long stick. So imagine like you're balancing with your arms, put the shoulders down, and think about all of the previous corrections and get it all together and, just work on it. And I don't know, just keep rambling and rambling on, but really arabesques are very, very important for me. So hopefully all of these things make sense for you guys, and let me know what your favorite tips from this video were, and maybe you have some other tips that are helpful for you personally. I know that all of these are really personal things and corrections are usually very personal, but I just still wanted to make this video. Maybe it will help some of you, so definitely let me know your opinions. And yeah, so that's kind of it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed already, if you want to see more ballet related content. And I love you guys all very, very much. Wishing you lots of luck and success for your ballet career or just for your lives. And yeah, stay positive, and I'll see you in my next videos. Bye.